Let's go back now to our other top story, illegal mining story in the Northwest. I'm joined by Louis Nel now, who is a mining security consultant. Louis, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for that little break we had to because of that breaking story. But I want to begin where my colleague Refilwe left off, that people who, the community is trying to help those people who are underground to try to bring them food, but it's a very risky exercise. I remember yesterday when one guy who actually went down described the condition. It was quite disturbing. From what you know, if anyone had to go there to try and rescue these people, what skills would they need to have? What equipment would they need to take down with them? Assuming that we're talking about a few kilometers underground here.
The first thing I want, just as a comment, want to say, what's happening currently with the community involvement indicates that illegal mining is actually now an integral part of our society. It's not going to disappear. It's now part of our day-to-day life. To the current situation in the shafts where these illegal miners, it differs a bit between the East Rand, Northwest, and the West Rand. And in the West Rand and Northwest, it's much more dangerous due to the extreme depth of the mines, between 1,000 to 4,000 meters maximum depth. So going down a shaft is already a risky business in a normal working mine. So by trying to go down in a shaft where all the infrastructure have been removed many years ago, there's no ventilation, there's no light. If you don't know what's the current conditions. There may have been rock falls. It's very dangerous. That's in a rescue sense. Then if you get down to the mine, there's actually different groupings operating, fighting each other. There's different territories. So it's a very difficult, very dangerous situation. I've been down one or two mines in a similar state. I would not recommend it. Not even the mines rescue services consider any option to go down that shaft or anything like that. So yeah, to rescue somebody from that depth is almost impossible.
Well, that's presumably the reason why the government is taking a hard line on this, even though there's another argument that I want us to go to as well. But just staying with how dangerous it is and the fact that there are fights over territory and the like, as you just mentioned. Would that not be concerning then? Because if you have people who break the law in any situation, and I remember a similar situation in Mpumalanga not too long ago where zamas again had taken over. I mean, they were mining illegally to begin with, and then had taken over government property that belongs to public works and other departments. And the police just took a step back and said, we're not going in there. And I'm wondering about the implications for that. In other words, where we are in a situation where police cannot arrest or deal with people who break the law, including having expertise or people with this kind of expertise that may be needed in order to deal with a situation like this, then it means that we can be held to ransom by people who may be armed and dangerous, at least at a theoretical level.
You have to evaluate every situation independently. You have to take some tactical conditions into consideration and decide if you want to go in. Are you willing to accept the consequences? We can make a decision, like in Mpumalanga, to move into the area. It can end up in a huge gunfight, and we can have the next Marikana as a consequence. So the commanders have to make certain decisions. you have to accept certain facts and you have to deal with them. And on the current situation in Northwest, you have to deal with factors on surface and on factors underground. The shaft location and the consequences and what you want to achieve. So every case is totally different from the other one. So yeah, I know in Northwest they have, and I've worked with them, a very capable illegal mining team. They're well supported by mine security and the mining houses, as well as the Defence Force. And I think they've got, for that certain shafts that they're working around now, stopping they've got the correct plan, and the consequences are acceptable. Going down in the mine and try to evict the mine, illegal miners by force is not an option. It's a world they know, it's a world we don't know.
It is precisely for those reasons and more than, Mr. Nel, that a lot of people with expertise in this area, the artisanal mining organization as well, are arguing that to criminalize this thing or an attitude that says I'm just going to flush them out, I'm dealing with criminals here, is not helpful under these circumstances. One, because as you said right at the beginning, what we're seeing here shows that your words were this kind of business is an integral part of our society. Secondly, you have a very high, abnormally high unemployment rate in this country at the moment. Thirdly, you have very porous borders that allow people, undocumented people, to come and work in these mines, and clearly in this instance they even bring their families. And then fourthly, there are examples like the one you've just mentioned, right, of successful projects run by smaller operators with the mining houses that have proved to be successful. So why don't we look at this thing completely differently from the way we are looking at it at the moment?
Well, you're quite correct. We will not be able to stop illegal mining. It's now part of our society. The secret is now in how we're going to manage it. There are several of them. The fact is illegal mining, and the word says, is illegal. It's against the law. So we have to act against the perpetrators doing the illegal mining. But there's also other things that we need to consider, like as a part of the community. If we stop illegal mining, what do we do with the communities that's dependent on that illegal mining? Is there no way to regulate the market for the illegal miners? In some sense, they manage it. It's a very difficult aspect to get one clear, defined solution. I agree with you. The problem is not just the illegal mining. It's the borders. There's no control at the borders. There's certain community or groupings that see due to unemployment, we must give people the opportunity to earn a living. But at this stage, it's still illegal, and we have to handle it as such.
Well, it is precisely for that reason that your Makuas and such organizations are saying, let's sit down around the table. They've even had marches to highlight the plight of these people, or in fact, this whole situation. They've made representations to Parliament saying, we cannot keep on talking past one another. We have a very real problem here that we need to solve. We can't look the other way, nor can we just apply law enforcement to it, because it's not about to come to an end, certainly not anytime soon. But that's why we're going to leave it, Mr. Nel, for now. Thank you very much for your time and insights. Really appreciate it.